Well, welcome back. Today we have the privilege of being with Dr. Mary. Thanks for being with us, Dr. Mary. We love our Ask Dr. Mary segments, and today's a special edition because you're going to help us cope with COVID. Is that right?
Yes.
Right? Is
Yes,
there coping with
hopefully.
COVID?
Yes, as I'm trying myself to cope with COVID. So maybe lessons learned in the midst of it for myself.
That's
Yeah.
right. And me too. So I want to know from
Yeah.
Dr. Mary how we have so many emotions going on, right? I know myself,
hmm
I've had some
Yeah.
anxiety, and then maybe there's some grief or anger or certainly fear. We're all experiencing these ups and downs of emotions. Can you help us know what are normal emotions in the middle of a crisis like this?
Well, first of all, I think normal is overrated.
Oh, okay.
So, let's not try to find normal. I'd like to probably differentiate between functional versus dysfunctional. And let's kind of talk about it because functional versus dysfunctional means that the range of emotions are going to be very similar. It's just the degree to which actually prevents them from living their life in a healthy way. So, from an emotional standpoint, oh my goodness, so commonly for myself, my family, people we've talked to, anxiety is huge. Worry, anger is emotion that comes up because when you feel you're out of control, if you think about it, the fight or flight mode, when you're under stress, that can be an accelerated response. I think people are also feeling lonely because of isolation. For myself personally, I've been struggling with a lot of guilt because I'm normally pretty busy. And then when the Lord puts a halt to all of that, it's hard to wrestle with feeling unproductive. And maybe I'm being lazy or I'm not doing my job or whatever it is. And so uh, it's just these negative emotions that come up that I think are all natural. That are
Well,
all.
that's helpful to know because I think from day to day, you don't know whether it is what you're feeling is normal. How would you know if the emotions that you are feeling have got to the dysfunctional category? How would you know? What are some
Mhm.
signs of that?
Yeah, so like I said, the emotions are kind of the same, but where it becomes dysfunctional is if you can't do the day-to-day responsibilities of your life. It's just taking you out. So whether you can't get out of bed, your energy, your motivation is so low that okay, you can have one bad day, you're lying in bed, but if it's happening day in and day out, that's a sign that's not good. If you're feeling even low to the point where you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I want to live anymore, absolutely, that's a sign. If you're finding that you just can't cope, you can't, like, work overwhelms you, school and life overwhelms you, then those are signs of dysfunction. So it's moving from these are normal emotions. Whenever there's stress, we're going to feel these things. And how are we able to process through them in a healthy way? To this is getting to the point where it's consuming me and it's taking
Right.
over my life, and I'm not able to cope with my day-to-day responsibilities.
Yeah,
So
that's a
those are
good
some
point.
key signs. Yeah. hmm
So, how can we then take care of ourselves emotionally and have good emotional health during this time? What are some practical things that we can do that can help us?
Yes. Well, to keep it really simple, I always like to do the three whatever. So I'm going to do the three R's. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the first R is radical self acceptance. And I say the word radical because we talk about the word self acceptance all the time. And it's like, yeah, I accept myself. Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. But I'm talking about a deep level of compassion and
Mhm.
an understanding and acceptance of the messiness of where you're at. Just last week, I had a meltdown. I was pretty angry. I was angry at God, actually, and I had to really work that through. So
Right.
for me, radical self acceptance was accepting that I felt all these emotions. I was feeling stress and
Right.
that I needed to express it. And thankfully, it's very, very able to handle it. So that's the
Yeah,
first R. The second R, I would
that's
say,
good.
is rest and self care, right? Rest and
Mm,
self care. And what does self
yeah.
care look like? I mean, right now, in a time where there is no routine, I would encourage people to establish a level of routine, not a stringent, so disciplined that you can't keep it up routine, but try to wake up at about the same time. Try to get out and exercise. So routine, uh, getting good sleep, good nutrition, get some fresh air every day, even if it means you sit out in your
Yeah.
balcony or your backyard just to get the air in your face. May not be
So
sun
true.
right now.
Yeah, so
Right.
true. I find that really, really helpful. So we got radical self-acceptance and we have rest. And I picked up another R, regular exercise.
Yeah, that's true.
You got
Okay.
one last R for us?
The last R is reach out and connect.
Good, good.
This is a
Even if it's
time
via
where
Zoom, right? Like this is the,
exactly.
yeah.
And you know what? If like last week I was feeling rather tired, and I honestly didn't want to even Zoom with people because it takes a lot out of you to be in a video. It's different than in person. It takes a lot more of you psychically to do these video calls. So we had a message from our pastor. I just, you know what? I'm just going to text him back, and we had a nice exchange of text back and forth, and it was just great. And so I didn't feel quite as alone, and that's really,
Good.
really important.
Well, I think that they're great R's. And I think that's a great reminder to us that even in this time, one comfort I know that I'm finding from the Lord is that He radically accepts us. He wants us to rest.
Yes.
He's with us in our routine, right?
Mhm.
And we can really trust God in this time. Do you find that? And I'm not talking that's lofty thinking, that's when the rubber hits the road. That's what we need to hold on to, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are in such an unusual season where there is so very little in our control. You know, and we know in the Bible says to surrender, but we'll all sort of surrender. And we kind of go through life, I would say, white knuckling it. We hold on to things really tightly. And during this time, we just can't.
Right.
And the gift of this time, when we have to let go of control, is the recognition that not only do we not need to be in control, but we're giving over control to somebody who is greatly in control.
Yes, that's
This
right.
this morning I was just reading in the scriptures, Acts 19:11, and this was a passage where it says God was doing extraordinary and unusual miracles by the hand of Paul. And I started thinking, well, we are in unusual times. So if
Yeah.
we're in unusual times and we surrender to God, then absolutely He's going to do unusual
Yeah.
miracles.
That's
If
so
we
good.
choose to pay attention to what He's doing in our life, this can be an incredible season of healing and freedom and miracles in our life.
Yeah, I received that, Dr. Mary. I'm looking
Yes.
for not just a silver lining, but for the miracle of God. And I know that you've got some resources for us. There's a workbook called the Coronavirus Anxiety Workbook. It's a downloadable resource that people can find on 700club.ca. You can go there. It's free. You can download it and work through the exercises. Mary, you've got a wonderful podcast that I enjoy every week, the Fully Lived Life podcast. People can find it on any podcast platform. And I thank you, Dr. Mary, for touching base with us again. We're going to keep in touch with you week by week, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Lori.
All right. Thanks for your time today. We'll be back.